Good morning, everyone. Today is July the 23rd. We have got a ton of earnings that are coming out, and that's probably going to give our market a little bit of motion. Thank goodness the Fed speakers are not chatting because they are in the quiet period. Today at 10 o'clock, we've got existing home sales. And the Richmond Fed manufacturing, and then a couple of bills, kind of quiet, and then tomorrow will be new home sales, so we'll be watching that. The bounce, take a look, dipped right below that trend line, coming up, holding pre-market. We've got some more bounce action. Here we are coming into the edge. We talked about this 555 zone. We want to watch for that to see how well we do. Are we making higher lows? Yes. What does that mean? Buy the dip. Simple as that. We buy the dip. And so the question, if we're saying to ourselves, well, which dip do we buy? If we move into the 30-minute and we take a look at our moving averages, which are kind of messy right here, right? We've got our VWAP, and the VWAP really is the most important thing, along with the volatility bands that I have made possibly a little bit too dark, but I didn't want them in the way that much. And so we're looking at the dips that give us buy zones. Take a look right here at the 552. That looks like the floor. We get up over 555, we'll move to 558. So we want to watch for that 555 coming over in the SPY. Below that 552.60, we've got to drift down into 550. So that's our range for the day. We're sitting up at value area high near 556 or 555.50, sorry, and then value area low all the way down at 548. Buy the dip. Same sort of thing here. Let's go to the daily for the Qs. Let's see about what trend line we want to draw here. Of course, the reason we don't trade trend lines is because they are very suspect. I can draw an infinite number of lines anywhere I wish. So here we go. This one holds this edge down here in May. Then we have one at the end of May, and now we're in the recovery zone for tech. And so are we making higher lows? Yes. What does that mean? Buy the dip. So what's the dip? Well, we're looking at 473 as the base, but we could have a higher low at 477 to 478. Where are the charts headed? 478 to 479, maybe even 490. But that is what we are looking for. But Anne-Marie, the moving average is down. Yes, but buyers are coming in from underneath. And so that is going to rule the day. As long as the buyers keep coming underneath, we're going to have buy the dip formations. Nice and clean, simple as it goes. 473 to 478 to 486 to 490. When will this reversion complete? I have no idea. Are we reverting back to positive trend? Are we building a head and shoulders pattern? I have no idea, but I will look for this. Once I start breaking lows, instead of keeping these higher lows, I'm going to look for a shift in trend. All right, and that comes as simple as, as early as maybe taking a look at a 5-minute chart sitting at key support. All right, taking a look at the ES, going to draw the same kinds of lines. We have this one that is very far to the south, and then we have this beginning May 2nd, just like the other chart. This one looks like it's got some room to fade still. Where is the point of control? That's all the way down at 55.20. Adamantini, I don't know if he says his name the real Italian way, or maybe he says it Adamancini, but whichever the case, he was mentioning that this 50-ish area needs to hold, except if it doesn't, it could flush to 55.20. I'm looking at the same sort of thing with the point of control, potentially down into the 54.97, at which point it bounces. Are we making higher lows? Yes. That means buy the dip. So where is the dip sitting? Well, price action has us at 56.07. That's a pretty good dip. It could come all the way down to the low of this wick, which is 55.70, at which point the buyers could come into the fray, right? So there's the dip. Maybe it'll come into 55.70, 55.72, and then we start walking up all the way maybe into 56.30 and 56.50. This is an earnings week, and particularly an earnings day that is very big. A lot of big folks coming in, Google and the like, doing some stuff this afternoon, and so I am going to be watching to see if there are any nice positions we can put on. You can find those on the Benzinga Pro platform. All right. So that's it for that. Still buy the dip, but looks a little bit weak. Weaker than, say, tech. All right. Which is still battling under this 20,000 area. The buyers tried so hard to get up to the 20,070-ish zone, could not do it at all. Are we in a buying formation? Well, yes, we are. It is buy the dip. Where's the floor of the buy the dip? 19,830 to 19,760. All right, that's my thought. If it loses the 760 area, we've got value area low below us at 560 to 470, 19,470. Above us, 20,069, 20,259. But that 20,000, the failure to get up over that level, kind of a big deal. Makes me a little nervous. And we've got price compression. So be very careful looking at these support zones. If they fail, we better step out of the way. Here comes the YM. Finally, this is fixed. So taking a look, it is sitting still above the zone of 40,580. It is in a buy the dip formation, barely. Let me see what the YM2 looks like. Yeah, a little bit better. It is a buy the dip, but 41,374, kind of a big deal right here. There's a lot of selling pressure that might be sitting up here. And so I would be very careful. I would buy the dip here just so long as it holds 40,939. If it loses that zone, it's very likely to head back into the 40,625. And eventually, friends, I think it comes back into the heavy congestion zones right around here. Hard to say exactly where, but 40,150 looks appropriate. All right, oil. Oil continues its downward flow. As I mentioned yesterday on the video, I really think this is a Trump move because he does invest. He is a mercantilist, right? And so he will invest in, he will promote the investment of the oil function, and that is going to bring price in. That's good for us. That's very, very good for us if that happens, if that turns out the way it is. But I do believe this is what traders are doing. And so where are we headed next? 76.90, right? Here's the first thing. We're still holding the opening low, and that is a higher low than yesterday. If we close here, we're going to have a shift to fill in the gap up above into $80. And so this is going to be a very key area. Look at how many days we've spent in this zone at $77. If we get any sort of savage fade, it should be a bounce zone in the interim. However, big bounce is going to lead to sellers. I don't think that we get above 80 until we figure out what's going on in the election space. Right. Now, so here we are, bouncing right off the point of control. Take a look, making our first higher low and coming into prior resistance. A lot of sellers sitting right up here. My thought is let it come back in, see if we can get this around 23.90, 23.92. If we can hold it, get out above that 24.10 or take the majority of it off, and then you can look for potentially 24.23. Let's take a look at RTY. It gave us quite a ride, bouncing also. Holy smokes, look at this thing. All right. Weekly formations have us in a range back from December. We are in a breakout zone. If we move from a measurement perspective and we use this box here, wow, do I want to, golly, I don't know. That's going to be hard. But if we use this box and then just move it up here to the higher edges, it still has 2400 as the upshot. From a weekly perspective, it is making higher lows, so the dips should be buy zones. Listen, yesterday we had a reversal candlestick formation, so what we want to see is can it come into the value area high and hold. So I am thinking the bounces, potentially sell zones into the floor of support at around 2200, and we'll see if the chart can work itself out that way. All right, that's it, folks. I'll see you on the streams.